I appreciated the fresh new take on the trapped on an island premise. What's up, everybody? So, this is my review of Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi, starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. Now, the premise, as I said, it's not a unique presence, but I like what Sam Raimi did with it. So, Dylan O'Brien plays the kind of scumbag, douchebag CEO character, and Rachel McAdams plays one of his employees. And they go on a business trip, plane crashes, and now they are stranded on a desert island together. And the dynamic between the two is where the conflict lies. Because in the beginning of the movie, you see how he is very disrespectful, he's rude, he's entitled, and you see how he takes out, that particular mindset out on Rachel McAdams' character. And then when the plane crashes and now the two of them are on the island together, the power dynamic switches. And it's really interesting to see Dylan O'Brien's character struggle with that because he just wants to be in charge. And I kind of glossed over it, but the reason why the dynamic switches is because he's disabled. He's got a broken leg because of it, and Rachel McAdams actually knows a thing or two about survival. And so he has to rely on her, begrudgingly so, on him staying alive and making it through all the conditions and situations that they find themselves in. Now, that was really, really fun. I like to see, they set it up so well. You very, very much hate Dylan O'Brien's character. And when he starts to get his comeuppance a little bit in big ways and small ways on the island, it's cathartic. And you get, a nice sense of revenge has been taken in a way. So that was really, really fun to see. The other part that I thought was really fun to see was kind of how Sam Raimi puts his fingerprints all over this. Like if you've seen movies like Evil Dead 1 and 2, Army of Darkness, Drag Me to Hell, he has a way of approaching horror. There are even a couple moments in some of the Spider-Man movies where it's very noticeable that it's a Sam Raimi approach to horror. I'm thinking specifically in Spider-Man 2 when Dr. Octopus basically is revived from the accident that happens that allows him to have these robotic arms. It's handled very, very classic Sam Raimi style. So there are moments in this movie, particularly the humor, and I don't want you to get cynical about this because I think with the way most humor in movies has been basically MCUified, vis-a-vis, the way that Josh Whedon approaches humor. It's like there's a very tense, dramatic, and serious situation. Let's not let it sit there and let the audience take it in. No, let's add a joke here to deflate the situation. There's none of that. There's humor in here that is, I think, well placed, well timed, and it still feels like how Sam Raimi deals with humor in some of his other movies. I highly recommend you watch Army of Darkness to see what I'm talking about. Another aspect that I really liked was the way Dylan O'Brien's character is little by little formed, how the audience receives him and how we kind of really start to not like him. And one of the things that he chose to do is have this maniacal, annoying laugh every now and again. Sometimes I think he plays a little too over the top with it, but when you hear him laugh, you know the kind of person he is. And it reminded me a lot of this one particular character in RoboCop, part of the bad guy Clarence's crew. And he has this very kind of similar maniacal, high-pitched, slightly annoying laugh. I say slightly annoying because you don't see him in the movie long enough for you to be annoyed by it, but it is memorable. You think about it when you think of that character. And so that was kind of an interesting thing. Most of the time when you think of actors, they use posture, hand movements, certain facial expressions, certain tics here and there. But when they add a specific kind of laugh, I always appreciate it because it's not really something that is added in. I wouldn't say enough, but just not, it's not a common thing. So it sticks out to me. And then I really liked some of these moments, like some of the humor really comes off with Dylan O'Brien making really passive aggressive comments when he's on the island, and that just kind of makes you chuckle a little bit, and I really appreciated that. And I loved Rachel McAdams, how dark she gets, and you can see it boiling in the beginning of the movie as she's kind of taking the crap from Dylan O'Brien's character, and so when it is just has a avenue to be released, it's just incredibly satisfying and enjoyable. The one critique I do have of the movie is the very, very, very ending of it. It left me with some doubts. But overall, I really, really enjoyed the movie. I think it's definitely worth the price of admission. And I definitely think it's a great theater experience. Anyways, that's all I got. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button, give me a follow, and I'll see you guys next time.